Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the best number 1E7A4C181RP3626. So this is a Mortise Thumbturn. The part number that the factory has in their catalog is the one that I just read off. The one on their box is different than that. 1EA6A4C413RP3. I don't know why they use this part number. You know, following the convention of what's in the catalog is what's done in that regard. It could very likely be that it's just a new part number and the catalog I have is a decade old. But anyway, here it is. Let's take a closer look at our Thumbturn. Very large style Thumbturn. They don't indicate this in the catalog as handicap compliant. I would be very tempted to say that it is, because I can tell you that other manufacturers' Thumbturns, like Kaba Ilko, they list theirs as ADA compliant and are basically the same very large teardrop shape. Being best, it's going to be solid brass. It's going to be very high quality. Okay. Satin chrome, 626 finish. The size of the cylinder, Best does it a little differently than anyone else. Mortise cylinders are measured from the underside of the head to the back of the cam, unless it's a dummy cylinder, but it's still measured as if there was a cam there. So using that logic, the length of this cylinder is going to be about 1.25 inches. Well, what Best does is they reference the underside of the head to the back of the body itself. So this is going to be about 1.15 would be my guess. 1.126, so 1.125. So if you ordered an 1.25 cylinder, I'm pretty sure Best is going to measure that from the underside of the head to the end of the brass body, not including the cam. I'll give you the thickness of the cam. So just be mindful of what Best is measuring. The cam thickness, my caliper says 0.128. 0.128 thickness of the cam. Okay. Now, let's switch to the screen view where we can take a look at some supporting documentation. Okay, so here's the item that we're looking at, and there is supporting documentation down below. First, there will be a link to installation instructions. They don't apply to this Thumbturn because the Thumbturn does not feature a interchangeable core for you to take advantage of the security set screw, and plus this would be on the interior of your opening. We put it there because they call it the 1E Mortise cylinder installation instructions. This is indeed a 1E cylinder, there's no doubt. Now the catalog section, the E-Series catalog section, and right away they give you the how to order. 1E7A4, that's certainly what we have. Blank is going to give you the standard length of the cylinder, which we'll see on pages 4 and 5. So let's back up. The how to order section allows you to determine, by following these steps, the way by which to create a complete part number. If the area here in the column doesn't fit all the options, they'll refer you to the page number. Cam or spindle, we're doing a C181, and that's indeed what we called it. They called it, Best called it something else. And then your trim package, an RP3 is what we have, because that's standard. Those are 2 trim rings, which I'll show you before the end of the video, and then our finish. So we can scroll through the catalog, and we're going to get to the RP3 first, and the other ring packages as well. RP3 gives you a 3/8 and a 1/8 collar, and they will stack on top of each other should you need that. Cylinder wrench, that's an important tool to have if you're working with Mortise housings. Not only can you insert the housing into the Mortise lock case easier by having more of a handle, but you can turn the tool around and use this end to actually test the installation. Now, your A dimension, as I said, underside of the head to the back of the body. If you need a custom length, you're going to need to indicate that by using the designated number appropriate for the A dimension. And be mindful, they're not showing that it includes the back of the cam. And that cam was about 1/8 of an inch. I think just a little heavy on that. Now, this is the 1E cylinders that are here. They also do a jumbo or a master ring size cylinder, the 1.5 inch, completely unrelated to a Mortise Thumbturn. But they do have them. If you've got Corbin or Russ one, maybe even Sargent block bodies that were jumbo cylinders or master ring cylinders or duplex cylinders, Best has cylinders that will go into those lock bodies. Now here's our Thumbturn, and you can clearly see where we're coming up with the 1E7A4. So we asked for the 7 length, which would have given us a longer 1.25" Mortise cylinder, and they're telling us that what they shipped was the 6-pin. And I can tell you the factory contacted us and they basically said, we don't do a 7-pin length in the Mortise Thumbturn. So either that person was wrong or this catalog is wrong. We asked for the 7-pin length. They shipped us a 6-pin length. I don't see that being a major problem, that 1/8 of an inch. However, we would have to be well, let me back up. It is not a problem for this client's project because they're 1 3/4 thick doors with the locks centered in the door. If you were doing some sort of a very thick door, or you were placing the lock in the door in such a place that it's not centered, or you have to think about the length of the cylinder or cylinders to reach the lock body, then you really have to be mindful. And in this case, all we would simply do would be designate the length to them so that it would be expressly written. Even though when we asked for a 1E7A4, that means 1.25 inch. We would double down on that and give them the A dimension defined as well. So that's your Thumbturn. They don't talk about it being ADA compliant. I suspect that it is. One thing we didn't say earlier is the hand. Specify hand if required. And you might say, well, why would a Thumbturn be handed? It wouldn't. But there are cylinders that are handed. The first one that comes to mind would be a Brinks, B-R-I-N-K-S cylinder. If you were to look up Brinks, that's an absolutely handed cylinder. More information here, special cylinder applications on this page. Continue to scroll through. UL 437 versions. High security, drill resistant, pick resistant cylinder construction. When it says UL 437, you're ordering the highest caliber resistant to bypass cylinder that exists. Cams are here. We asked for the C181, and that's the Adams Wright style cam. Their part number to us says C413. They must use a different cam when it applies to a Mortise cylinder, when it applies to a Thumbturn Mortise cylinder. And I can see why that might be the case, because they very likely need a different cam when the interior construction of the Thumbturn is clearly different than an interchangeable core Mortise cylinder housing. While you're calculating your special length requirements, you might need to look at cylinder collars, cylinder rings, cylinder collars, okay, to get you out to the size as needed. The rest of the catalog just has additional information, as it's the entire section. Now, the item that we're looking at here, this Thumbturn, does include that RP3, and I'll show you that before we wrap up this video and show you the dimensions of each. Now, there's a link here below this video to the manufacturer's page, and when we click on that, we're going to be able to, as we wait for that page to load, we're going to be able to view not only all of the best products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Of course, the name Best is utterly synonymous with SFIC, or small format interchangeable core. And to that end, the 1921 Frank Best patent for that concept is here as well for fun. This is not the small format that we know and use today, but it is the original patent for the original concept. Very interesting idea of what he had here. And speaking of that mastering cylinder earlier, it was Corbin who basically, according to them, invented the concept of using these ball bearings. And that is because the keys, there was tremendous wear on the key. Well, late 19th century metallurgy and material science was not permitting them to manufacture keys that were durable enough to be very long-lasting. So they inserted these ball bearings to simply reduce friction, to remove the square-bottomed, spring-biased tumblers from acting on the key itself to wear it out. And so these ball bearings would have no choice other than to simply rotate, so substantially reducing the wear and tear on a key as you inserted it and pulled it out hundreds of, well, let's just say hundreds of thousands of times easily, or millions of times. This is not, again, the core that we use today, but this is the first one. There's another patent that gets that does show the cylinder that we all know and love today. I don't have that listed there. It's, you know, maybe someday I'll put it there. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, in conclusion, we have our two cylinder rings that are here, our RP3 package. Give you the thickness of each. They said the thick one was 3/8. My caliper tells me it's 0.416. The thin one they said is 1/8 of an inch. My caliper tells me 0.134. Okay, very high quality Mortise cylinder thumb turn. There's no doubt. I'm a fan of Best. It's not because we do a ton of business with them, because we really don't. And I wish that we did more, and always encourage the opportunities to do that. The reasoning is because great quality product, but what really is notable is how exceptional their technical support department is. Absolutely phenomenal in every single regard. They are utterly thorough and perfect in their responses, because there are times you need to contact the factory and just ask for tech support because it's not clear to you through the catalog or through the technical service manual or through templates. Now, what's nice about it is, speaking of that manual, they have a service manual that is published for, I think, all of their stuff. And the best access service manual we have, which is linked to on that manufacturer's page, which I'm loading now, and it's now only half loaded, the quantity of pages in that document is 1,358. So when I call Best and I ask for a part number, the person who answers the phone will politely ask, well, have you looked in the service manual? And it makes you remember, whoa, wait a minute, I don't have to call. I've got the data already. The fact that they publish that is absolutely stellar, because, you know, who's got time to make a call? Who's got time to take a call? The document is there so that you can get that part number of what you're looking for and then continue on with whatever project you're working on. I happen to be knowledgeable about the A2, A3, and A4 small format pinning system, so if you're working on a project like that we can help you with, please feel free to reach out to us. Any questions on the Best 1E7A4C181RP3626, or that part number they have on their box, or any other Best product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.